Hey, what's up, everyone? It's me, Ricky J from the British Columbia Real Estate Podcast channel. Like we always say here, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to learn all about living in British Columbia. And if you're thinking about moving to and or in around BC, definitely give us a call. The number will be down below. And just wanted to let all the audio streamers who are on Spotify, Apple Music now, Amazon Music as well, make sure you guys join the YouTube channel for all our bonus episodes that we shoot all over British Columbia. So definitely join the YouTube channel for all our audio streaming listeners out there. And we have a special episode coming for you guys as well, based around the Alberta real estate market. Okay, that's going to be coming up really soon. But jumping right into this episode today, we're going to be giving Jeff a call and we're going to ask him a very important question.
Hello, Jeff. Chadha here.
Hey, Jeff, it's me, Ricky from the BC Real Estate Podcast. How's it going?
Hey, Rick. How's it going, brother?
Good. I'm glad I got you at a time. You've been pretty busy today.
Oh, pretty busy. An understatement, bro.
Yeah, it's been, you can let our audience know as well. It's been tough to kind of meet up with Jeff as well, just because we've been so busy, but we're still able to give this amazing content to you all.
Well, I mean, and I actually just set up my popcorn machine in my office.
How's that thing running? I remember you telling me about that.
Well, it's actually running not bad, but I forgot a key ingredient. I forgot to get the butter or the oil thing. So I can't really pop into it right now.
Nice. So I'll have to get maybe some seasonings for that popcorn there pretty soon.
Well, I don't know. I just thought butter is fine enough. I don't know if you go crazy with it.
Wait, have you gone to Colonel's before? They have so many different seasonings you can put on it. I'll bring some by next time I come to the office.
I didn't know you're such a popcorn master.
I am. I used to sell popcorn actually at the concession stand, believe it or not, okay? Out of my many jobs in the past. But jumping right into this episode, Jeff, I won't take up too much of your time because we're both got a lot going on today. This is a really important question. I know it's near the end of the year, typically the real estate market. This is probably the slowest time of year every year. Typically in December is probably the slowest month out of the year, I'd say, right?
Well, I mean, traditionally, yeah, right? I mean, if we weren't looking at the last year and a half type of thing, traditionally, yeah. November, December, January have historically been slower. Has that been the case this year? Yeah, not really. Right. I mean, we're still in multiple offers. We're still, buyers are still going crazy to find that right property. Sellers are very eager to get their prices. Mm-hmm. Right. So, yeah, Rick, it's not historically as slow as one would have thought.
True. Now, the question I wanted to ask you, this episode is more catered towards people who might potentially be wanting to be selling their homes or properties or thinking about it, right? But I wanted to ask you, should I sell my home now or wait until near the beginning or first quarter of the year, And part of that question, right, on why I decided to do this episode was because of the potential interest rate hikes they're talking about next year, right? So BCREA said there's potentially 2 increases coming next year, First is expected during mid 2022, they were saying somewhere between April to September next year, right? Which would bring the overnight rate to 0.75%. And then, potentially maybe doing a third increase near the end of the year from what I've been hearing, but you never know. Based upon that, do you feel that people might feel pressure to maybe sell or, depending on what situation they might be as well, like they might have multiple rental properties or they might only have maybe one home just that they're debating on selling and maybe moving out further or...
Oh, Rick, you have like a whole bunch of questions in like one question.
Hey, that's how we do it. We're going to have to do it.
Right. Well, okay. Well, let's try to break that down quickly, right? Because, you talked about people that just have one property versus people that have many properties, right? Mm-hmm. Those are different categories.
Yeah.
Right? So is it a good, so I guess overall you're asking, is it a good time to sell or should I sell? What's the question you're asking?
Should I sell now or wait until next year?
Right now, like I said, the market's still hot. The inventory is still low. Mm-hmm. Right? I've said oftentimes before, we're not psychic. We can't predict what's going to happen in the upcoming years, let alone months. Hell, shoot, let alone weeks.
Yeah,
right? Definitely. Is it a good time to sell? Right now, currently, every time. Right now, it's a great time to sell. Mm-hmm. Right? Even though that we're still in the Christmas months, we still have multiple offers going on. We still have record high prices going on. We don't see it slowing down as of right now. Now, has activity might have slowed down a little bit? Sure, activity slowed down a little bit, but that can be understood coming into the holiday months.
Exactly.
Right. But now if we're talking about activity, maybe a month ago we had 30 offers on a property. Now we're having 10. That's still a lot. Yeah. Right. And considering that out of 30, 20 of them were probably lowballers or, I thought, let me rephrase that. Lowballers is a bad word to say because right now the listing prices are so low. Mm-hmm. right? And what the selling for are two different things, and seller's expectations. So I'm going to rephrase that, right? Out of the 30, 20 of them are close to the asking price, where the other 10s are the serious ones that are going well above asking price.
Yeah.
Now, how far above asking price? Well, that depends on each their own. But overall, right now, it hasn't slowed down as of yet.
Yep, still very active.
Right? So if we're looking at, if you only have one property, then the whole planning part comes in to play. If you have only one property and you sell that one property, well, where are you going to go next?
Yes, that is the main question. Still going on.
And you can't just do a typical 2-month completion, which you used to do in the past, which normally people did, right? Now you're seeing longer completion dates because people can't seem to find the next property. We were going through one of these right now, Rick, ourselves. We had a property in the market, great price, had it basically sold, but then our sellers rightfully started freaking out and said, well, where am I going to go? And that's the conversation we had with them before.
Yeah.
As you know, you want to get all those things all in order first before you put your home on the market. So if you have all those things lined up and you found a home already from the other side to buy, then sure, it's a great time, right? Now, let's look at if you have multiple properties.
Yes.
Right? The funny thing is, I just had a conversation about this with another client of mine, talking about equity and talking about investment properties. He has multiple properties, and he was suggested by a friend of his that, well, maybe instead of selling his place, and it was a stratified unit, instead of selling it, maybe he should just take out a line of credit against it, right? So when I had a conversation with him about that, I told him straight that, well, let's look at this. If you take out a line of credit against this property, that means you're taking out a loan, essentially, right? If you take out a loan, will your rent be covering that loan amount? Answer was no. He's actually paying, because right now he's actually profiting money in his pocket. He's getting roughly about, I think, $600 a month. Okay. Roughly.
Stays positive.
No, it was about $900 a month right now. Because he bought the property a while ago. But if he takes the line of credit out against it, then he actually be paying about $300, $400 a month. So then he also needs to buy another property in which he'd be getting a mortgage there. So you have to look at your loan to debt ratio and all those nice boring little things that a mortgage broker can discuss with you about. But I told him that when you bought this property 3-4 years ago, your whole point was to make money. Right now, if we sell it, you'll make a profit of roughly about $150,000. That's even after calculating capital gains and everything else, right? So he'll make a profit of $150,000. So then we broke it down saying, well, how many months or years would it take for you at your current rental rate to make $150,000 profit, considering that every month you're paying out of your pocket? And the other factor that we told him to look at is that when he gets his new place, how much money will you have left in the bank in terms of savings? And then he told me, he goes, well, he'd be basically at his max. And I'm like, then it's a no-brainer. What are you doing? You're building up equity to make yourself poor, right? I mean, you'd be paying there and you have no money in the bank. Something happens, you're screwed. Yeah. Right? Equity is great if you can afford to hold on to it and keep it and it's making you money. But if it's draining you, then it's not really a positive asset now, is it? Now, so that's another scenario. If you do have multiple properties, you have to look at the equity standpoint of it as well. Now, let's say we have someone that has 3 or 4 or 5 properties. Is it a good time to unload those properties? And I'm going to say, once again, possibly it might. You have to look at each and every situation. Yeah. Right? How much is owing on that property? What was the purpose of buying that property? Where is that property? Is there future development potential with that property? There's so many factors to consider. But overall, theoretically, yeah, it would be a good time to sell if that is your goal. But if your goal is to acquire a property and build your assets, then obviously the answer would be no, because your goal is to acquire property. So, Rick, really to answer your questions, is it a good time to sell coming up? It's yes and no, because you really have to look at what your financial situation is and what your plans are. We always tell people it's all about planning. You're spending a lot of money. It's not a hotel where one day you jump in and the next day you jump out to the next room right across the street.
Yeah, right? Definitely not. Even though some people make it harder on real estate agents and just, last minute, like changing their minds on maybe I don't want to sell now. A little late.
Oh, we've had that happen. We've had that happen to us quite a few times, and that comes with the territory, right? We enter this occupation knowing that that's something that happens.
And it's even more common now too, because it seems like just with the low inventory and people are like, hey, maybe I don't want to leave because they've been living in this certain area, let's just say the Lower Mainland, for a long time, right? And so last minute they might be like, hey, I don't want to leave, even though I'm pushing further out this way and I might be getting a better property, much more land, just overall, just a better property, more suited for everybody's situation. But, you know, they might just last minute back out and be like, hey, no, you know, I don't want to leave here. Even though they might be better off that way, but they still just don't want to leave. They're too comfortable in this area.
The thing with this market, Rick, in terms of, you know, if you're thinking about selling, now more than ever, your planning really needs to be up there. Right. I mean, 2-3 years ago, 4 years ago, all that kind of stuff, you can sell your property and, you know, buy another one and move in within 2 months. It was easier, but that's when it was a controlled market. Now we have no inventory.
Yeah, it's tough.
So you really need to know where you want to go, what you want to buy, have your finances, have all your ducks in a row. And then decide, okay, do we want to sell it? Because these are the potential properties we can buy, right? If you sell your property today with a 2 month closing on it and think that you can wait a month and then start looking, well, you might be in trouble.
Yeah, you definitely want to pre-plan ahead of time.
Yeah, we've had some clients where we've had to actually stick them into rental properties for 3 to 4 months.
And there's a lot of people in that same boat. They thought the market would have maybe, I can't say corrected itself, but would have came down a little bit, right? But it's just been going up, this upwards trend. And they're kind of just renting on the side, trying to be like, hey, you know, I can't really find something I want to buy really right now. Right?
Well, I mean, a lot of people are depending on, you know, the media. I mean, for instance, one report said that we have 2 areas that have real estate bubbles that are going to burst, but Vancouver's not one of them. Vancouver's market is set to go higher and higher. And then we had CIBC, I think 2 days ago, coming out with their report saying that we think the market's going to decline by 15%. So what's the public supposed to believe?
Yeah, that's right. Mixed stories everywhere. From
experience, what I can tell you is that should our prices be the way they are? Hell no.
No, that's true.
Right? So but our market is not driven by logic. It's driven by emotions, realistically. Somebody wants to argue that with me, they can. And I'll simply say, explain to me how our living wage has not really moved, how people can barely afford, how doctors are having trouble getting their mortgages, how someone's, you know, with one family can't even find a place, but yet they're willing to get a mortgage of $700,000 when they only make $60,000 a year.
Yes. This is very typical.
Right? If some people want to try to challenge me and say, oh, so we're not emotionally based, driven down here. Okay, well, let's talk.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning this yesterday too.
Yeah, I mean, you know, explain to me how a townhouse in 2 months jumped from $600,000 to $850,000.
Yeah, in such a small span of time.
I mean, our economy hasn't jumped up that big a percentage in 2 months.
Not at all.
You know, and where are these buyers coming from? So what should we really be looking at? You know what? This actually might be a good show to look at is where are these buyers coming from? Like how because this isn't foreign buyers that are buying these properties. Everyone before used to blame foreign buyers.
Yeah, because of all the money laundering and all this stuff that was going on at the time. Many years ago, right?
You know, where has all this money come from now? You know, where all these buyers popped up from that are, you know, willing to spend all this amount of money. So it might be good one day, Rick, to have a show looking at who is actually buying.
We are definitely going to do that episode, you know, and I think a lot of people might want to know that. This is a very informative episode, or could be, right?
I think so, because like I said, before people had this stigma that, oh, foreign buyers are coming in, foreign buyer this, foreign buyer this. Well, during COVID times, our prices have skyrocketed.
Yeah. And travel was shut down.
Tell me how many foreign buyers there were. So, and we've been telling people for the longest time in British Columbia, we have a lot of people with money down here.
Yeah, definitely.
Just with nowhere to spend it right now. So now they're spending on homes and all these things. So no, I think that'd be a good topic to have. But no, sorry, to go back and get back on topic with your question. Is it a good time to sell coming up soon or within right in the new year time? It's yes and no, Rick. Honestly, it depends to each and every situation. You know, what your financial situation is, what's going on with how many other properties you have, all these kind of things, all factor.
Perfect. No, you answered that just beautifully, man. Thank you so much. Right. And then real quickly, I know we're kind of over time here. We have a time limit for these shows, guys, but we always go over. I just wanted to touch on like how you were talking about with this inflation being so high, most likely going up more going into next year. You know, do you think that that's going to have a huge significant impact on the real estate market next year, especially going into the first quarter?
Should it have? Okay, I think a better question, a better way for me to answer that,
or could it have?
Is should it have a big impact?
Mm-hmm. Should or
right?
Could, yeah.
I think it should have an impact, right? Will it have an impact? Well, that's hard to see, right? I mean, there's a lot of things that should have had a huge impact on our market already, and yet it didn't come down.
That's true.
Right. I think I also read somewhere that they're talking about increasing the property taxes in 2022 by 6 point something percent. I read somewhere. Right. So you know, so there's a lot of things that should do it, but once again, Rick, I'm going to bring this right back to an X factor, which we can't monitor really or measure, is emotions.
True.
Right? We can't really monitor buyer expectation and buyer psychology.
It's true. Right? Yeah, we don't know.
That's the one X factor. You can throw stats here. You can throw, okay, this many people have this and that many people this, and this how many people came in here and this how many jobs here. Yeah, those are great. That's stats. Beautiful. Fantastic, right? But do you really know what's going on in that stats person's brain? Do you really know what their interest is? Do you know what's going on in their life? Do you know, there's a lot more to it. Yeah. Even the commercial game is gone crazy too. And commercial is usually more of a statistical game where you can actually be more educated on it and, say, okay, this many companies are here. This is this, this is that, this is that. It's more raw numbers. But even that has gone crazy right now.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you about that as well, since you do commercial stuff as well. How has that market been compared to like peak COVID? I know it wasn't doing too well, right? Just leases were too expensive and just COVID, people couldn't work or whatnot, right? Has that market came back to a certain extent, or is it still
kind of our government and our community has rallied up and tried really hard to bring businesses back to the position that they were before. Obviously, nothing's going to be 100% as it were before. A lot of businesses, unfortunately, have closed down because they couldn't survive that period of time. But the commercial that I'm talking about more, it's not so much about the smaller restaurants or anything. I'm talking about more about the warehousing games, all those kind of things. Right? Yeah. With Amazon, Loblaws, all these big companies coming here, taking space for storage and all these things. It's created a void in the market where there's buildings coming up, but even putting offers on them is in multiple offers. Right. So, I mean, do I do commercial? Yeah, but not as much. Right. I focus more on the residential world.
Yeah.
To get back to it, it's very hard to tell you that, okay, this is what's going to happen. That's going to happen. Like I said, the X factor is there. Right. With the buyer psychology. And that's very hard to predict.
Any last pieces you want to add here before I let you go?
No. I got to get back to work, bro. I'm super swamped.
Okay. I might be coming into the office later on today. Just wanted to ask you another really important question. Okay. Yeah. Just before I let you go here. Now, I know there wasn't a Christmas bonus, but is there a Christmas party happening on behalf of JC Homes?
Want a party? We'll do a party. Hell, I mean, we do parties almost every day.
Okay, so all our loving and loyal supporters invited as well on the YouTube channel and streaming platforms.
Sure, I don't mind. Go ahead, Rick. It's all on you.
That's on me. The guy with no Christmas bonus. All right.
Okay, brother. I got to get back to work here.
Okay. No worries, Jeff. I'll let you go here, and I might be coming by later. Comment and subscribe to this channel, guys. If you want to learn about living in British Columbia, join the channel. With that, we're signing out. See you guys on the next one.
Bye, boys. Bye.
Bye.